Hello, community. My name's Nancy Nebben-Shacker, and I'm with the Cumberland County Progressives Organization. The mission of the Cumberland County Progressives is to promote economic, social, and environmental justice, peace, and sustainability in North Carolina. We work to maximize the democratic process, to advocate for today's most pressing issues, and to serve as a voice of conscience. Our ultimate goal is to educate, bring unbiased and informative political information for the citizens of Cumberland County and the means by which citizens can affect change. Our guest today will be Colonel Bobby Washington, retired from the military, and Dr. Katrina Murphy of Great Oak Youth Development Center of Fayetteville. But first, the news.
Picket lines and picket signs, don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's going on, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on.
On our unemployment scene, the news has been happy to announce that job losses have declined on one hand, while unemployment at 9.4% is the highest it's been in 25 years. In actuality, unemployment is probably closer to 17% because part-time and laid-off workers no longer seeking work are not included in the count. Currently, there are 14.5 million Americans out of work. Based on figures from the North Carolina Budget and Tax Center, wages for North Carolina median average incomes are $21.10 for whites, nearly half of that at $12.25 for blacks, and less than half of that at $10.22 for Latinos. On the plus side, the number of jobs in the state showed an increase, but much of that increase was due to the addition of 92,000 census workers, which is temporary and part-time work. On the one hand, we have waste and inefficiency, and this is a quote, poor management, weak oversight as recurring themes, according to the Wartime Contracting Commission in its assessment of how tens of billions, that's B for billions, has been spent since 2001 on contractors supporting military operations in Iraq and Afghanistan. The report goes on to say that the Pentagon has failed to provide enough trained staff to oversee the contractors. But here at home, because of budget shortages, we face some of the most draconian measures ever suggested. Some of the proposed reductions include, for North Carolina, the reduction of between 12,000 and 18,000 teachers, a 7% reduction of janitors, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, elimination of 350 school administrators, principals, and vice principals, a $12 million reduction in cancer research, a 20% reduction in an already ailing mental health system, closing down of rape crises, abuse, and sexual assault centers across the state, elimination of 25 district attorney and public defender positions, a 50% cut to hospice and elderly home care, cuts to nursing home assistants, termination of 500 transportation employees, passing millions of dollars for law enforcement down to the county level where they can't afford to pay for it, closure of 8 prisons, across the board Medicaid cuts, and an increase in tuition for 19% increase in community college tuition and a proposed 8% increase in state university tuition. Together North Carolina, which is a coalition of nonprofit organizations, service providers, and professional associations, is calling for smart revenue solutions that preserve vital programs in the state rather than the slash and burn tactics being called for by many legislators. Using cuts to close North Carolina's budget gap is going to devastate families and communities across the state, they say, and the state's approach will only prolong and deepen the recession. The group is calling for a balanced approach, including tax increases and judicious cuts. Quote, slashing vital programs is a one-sided approach which won't work and will set back decades of progress, says George Reed of the North Carolina Council of Churches. We, as progressives, call on legislators to make budget decisions that support communities and do not undermine the state's economic recovery. As unpopular as it is to say, taxation is part of that formula. Be reminded that taxes pay to make our society literate, pay for the armed forces, pay to protect us, pay for streets, roads, electricity, water, sewerage infrastructure, and many more things that allow us to enjoy a comfortable and civilized society. Instead of merely cutting, which will lead to further losses, deepening the recession, our legislators must look for ways to increase income to help our citizens. While we spend and waste billions in the wars, we allow too many of our citizens and ultimately our entire society to suffer the hardships of under and unemployment, poor education, reduced services, poor medical care, and underprotection at home. The conditions for waste and corruption, such as with the war contractors, while citizens suffer at home, are a major part of the problem. And you thought little orphan Annie, who lost her parents to a tent city, and Daddy Warbucks, who made his wealth from war, was just a cartoon story? I don't think so. And I want to add to that just recently we had some folks go up to Raleigh opposing any tax increases. While they were there, they had a chance to ride on the R-Line bus, which Raleigh provides transportation for free because it's paid for by tax dollars. An Irvington, New Jersey charity, Gospel Services Benevolent Society, won a Fayetteville City bid last year to reopen Hope Center, which closed in 2006 amid financial problems. The building, located at 913 Person Street, will provide 21 beds for the homeless. Currently, the city's homeless population is estimated to be over 1,000 people on any given day. It is painful that no local organization was able to receive that bid, and it went to someone from a 3-mile town with less than 58,000 residents in northern New Jersey. Operation Inasmuch on Hillsborough Street is scheduled to open this summer. Fayetteville has been awarded $600,000 from the federal stimulus package to help keep families with eligible incomes from losing their homes. In other news, the Cumberland County Local Food and Shelter Program has received over $91,000 of the stimulus money. The Food and Shelter Program is designed to take care of the homeless population in the county. Is ending homelessness possible? We say yes. People, that's you, have to become involved and let your government officials know that we want them to invest in affordable housing. We want to give people education and jobs and the opportunity to succeed. Affordable housing for families and permanent supportive housing for the physically and mentally disabled costs a lot less than keeping people on the streets or in jails or other institutions. Be reminded, though, that many of our homeless are veterans and many are families, and that includes children. Well, it's June, and as we go to tape, there is still no State Bureau of Investigation report concerning the death of Kenmara K-Rock Davis, after having been shot to death by Fayetteville police officer Michael Yount on Thanksgiving night. Yount claimed that Davis had a gun and fired at him. It was the second occasion for Officer Yount to use his gun in a 6-month period. Davis, a Fayetteville State University student with a 3.8 grade point average, was scheduled to graduate in December and did so posthumously.